Hey babe, I hope that you are getting enough rest, drinking enough water, doing your best to let shit go figuratively and literally. Welcome to this episode of What Am I Do Long Form. If you've connected with me through TikTok, go ahead and comment down below. Feel free to give me a like, whatever the things are. I don't know. I'm still like learning about this stuff. But so yeah, Colon Chronicles 2023 continues. Intermittent fasting, liquid before you go to bed, preferably warm liquid, room temperature, and drinking when you first get up. Have some good poops. I've been having some green tea to mix it up a little bit. And oh, I almost forgot. Light my candle and get my ambiance together. I was cleaning my glasses and then I just kind of like went ahead and got started. So you get to see a little bit of my setup situational. How you doing? Where's the lighter? Thank you. Thank you, lighter. Voila. Got a yellow lighter today. Oh, one is gray. Where did it go? No. Oh, hey, wait. Still got my microphone situation. Can you hear me better now? I hope so. Okay. Where was I? Incense. That smoke is so pretty. All right. So, and lastly, we're gonna pull you in a little closer. That way, I don't catch any food that falls in my lap. So, here is our lovely plate today. I've got a piece of toast, an egg, and some Brussels sprouts. I have like potatoes, peppers, and onions. Yeah, and I was gonna like mix everything together, but I decided to do my Brussels sprouts separately because I wanted them just kind of like steamed and crisped and whatnot. I still like them to have like crunch to it. So that's pretty good with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. Now with the potatoes, when I get to those, I'll tell you what's in it. This is good. Some people like their Brussels sprouts like really, really soft, and I think of the ways to prepare them, really, really soft is probably my least favorite. But since I have a love of Brussels sprouts, like I can eat them raw. So it'd be very difficult for someone to mess up Brussels sprouts for me. Now I have fond memories when I was a child. We used to visit a family down the street that were ministers of like Christian school that my mom sent me to. I was raised Catholic, and we're having dinner with them one night, and they were having Brussels sprouts. And the dad was like, "Man, I do not like Brussels sprouts. They are just yuck balls to me." And I remember like hearing him call them yuck balls. That did not deter me from liking Brussels sprouts. Because I already had such good experiences with them. You can't call it anything. You can call it what you want. I still like my yuck balls. It's so good. I put too much food in my mouth and I can't talk because I don't want to spray food all over my table here. But you ever notice how like raw food you have to chew up like a lot more? And when you do chew it up a lot more, it makes this lovely roughage in your guts and helps give you good poops. Now, Brussels sprouts being kind of in the cabbage family, it can also make you kind of farty. So be aware of that. Better out than in though. Don't hold in a fart. Might come out your ears or something. I don't know. But so next up on the plate, great. This is my first meal of the day. I may snack later on, but I have a half a sandwich from the other day. Got my curls popping today. I was gonna put my yarn locks back in, but I got a message from someone that they were going to be at the event that I was going to, so I was like, okay, let me be cute and get my curls popping. This is them the next day after sleeping on them. I didn't bother to tie them up because I didn't want to like press them down. So like, yeah. This is a good egg. I'm in the kitchen, and when I make eggs, I'll make like 2 or 3 eggs, but today I opted for just 1 egg because 1 eggs are expensive right now, and 2, I was like, okay, I have 5 eggs. If I have 1 egg now, I'll satisfy the desire for an egg, and I have 4 eggs left. So I could have 4 more 1 egg meals, or 2 more 2 egg meals, or 1 more 4 egg meal if I choose to. So that's kind of the way that I think about the resources that I have, because I don't I do like going to the store, I just don't want to, because I'm working on being more thrifty as far as my spending is concerned. Yeah, this is good. I made it in a pan with some butter, and I toasted my bread. I remember my mom used to love that, or when we like made toast for her like on the stove as opposed to in the toaster, like put it in the cast iron skillet with some butter, and just cook it till it was crispy. Here you go, Mom. Oh, it's delicious. I love that. That's such a fun memory. So here are my potatoes and onions. A little jalapeno in there. Salt, pepper, oregano. I'm working on being a bit more like light-handed with my seasonings. And since the green in here is jalapeno, I did take the seeds out so it wouldn't be too spicy, but I did leave some of them in because I like a little bit of that kick. So got some spicy potatoes today, and it's going really well with the very lightly seasoned Brussels sprouts. So if you're gonna have some, for me, if I'm gonna have something like spicy on my plate, I do like to have something a little bland to kind of balance it out. And like, yeah, that's good. So I went to I went to a potluck at a church last night, and I made candy yesterday because I want to send some candy to my Twinkie twin for our birthday, and my niece whose birthday was earlier this month is January as I'm recording this. So comment down below when you're seeing this. And I know that some people that watch me or what have you are Christians or are people that consider themselves like true believers. I honor you. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention today. And they were having like a bonfire, and called people to like put something in the fire to I can't recall the purpose of it because I don't do their magic. But I mean, I was like throwing things into a fire. That is a shamanic practice. And I was saying this to the pastor's wife because I've come like under judgment from this church because I acknowledge that I am a shaman. I do not label myself a Christian because I'm queer. And most Christians that I have encountered don't. They want you to be one thing or another. You're either man or you're male or you're female and whatnot. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm two-spirited, whole and complete, Christed of a different awareness. And so the last Sunday I gave some gifts to a young woman who had been very nice to me, and she had little children, and I got some bags from an event that I was at, and I was like, my sons aren't, gonna want this, so I was like, I figure her kids could use it and whatnot. So the pastor brought it back to me and asked me if I'd cursed them or prayed over them in some way, and I was just like, well, no. But that day, there's two people that I gave gifts to, and when the gift came back, and then the pastor's wife tells me that, of the gift that I gave to someone else, and I was like, okay. And I'm like, what difference does it make what gifts I give whomever? Okay. Divine judgment dictates compassion and mercy. They're concerned that I'm creating some kind of, I don't know what their concern is, that I'm creating something evil. Because just the way that they look at me is rather suspicious, and I'm just like, okay. I'm here to worship. I worship outside of the church building. Though, like, my church is actually outside, under the sky, looking at the trees, listening to the birds. I just went to go take some food scraps out, and I saw 3 cardinals and 2 squirrels running around in the yard. And I was just like, oh, hey guys, I just received that as such a wonderful message of encouragement and whatnot. So I'm going to sit and meditate on what message is coming through from that. And so as they're, doing their thing or what have you, they made absolutely no attempt to include me at all in what they were doing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But because I have PTSD, I tend to be hyper aware. So as I'm talking to you, I'm observing the smoke that's coming up from the incense stick. I'm acknowledging the light that's coming from the window outside. I feel the bed under my behind and everything. So all of these things are kind of filtering into my awareness. So as we're talking, I'm sitting and I'm just kind of looking into the fire and just listening. And at one point I yelled out, "Thank you, God," and I scared the woman that was sitting beside me. I don't know what she was focused on, probably wondering what I was thinking, but I don't think I really had. I was just present. And I think that's one thing that is, because people are more intuitive than they give themselves credit for. But when you sit beside someone like me, who has the ability to be in no thought, just to be present where I am, it can be an experience. So, but I'm hearing what they're saying and everything, and they're screaming about Jesus, and I hear that, and that makes me remember as a child, someone was telling me about the value of listening. Like, yeah, listen for your name. And I told the pastor, I am Jesus. And he said, that's blasphemous, to which I laughed. And I was like, okay, at that point, I realized that I had triggered his judgment, and he didn't really know how to take what I said. But I am of different awareness. I'm of the mind that the Bible is like an encoded science book. They talk about not adding to or taking away, but the Bible as we have it is not complete. But okay, fine. You learn from it what you can, but it's through introspection. self-examining, understanding the power of radical forgiveness, forgiving myself and forgiving other people, receiving that in grace and mercy, and know that like wherever I am, I'm in the right place. Particularly if I'm inspired to be there, and I was inspired to go to this church. So before I go back, I pray about it, and I'm asking Great Spirit, Source, whomever is bringing this church across my awareness, is as my work done there, because literally the thought came like I don't have to do any. I can just go in there and sit. But the music is good and people are dancing, so I enjoy and dance too. I shout my gratitudes and appreciations because I am grateful and appreciative, and it just helps. It just really does help me raise my vibrations. It appeals to my inner child and my body's desire to move around, and going for walks and getting my steps in as I move from this body and create the body that I will have at some point in the future. I did Colon Chronicles back in 2016 and got rid of 150 pounds in like a year and a half. This year I only have I desire to get rid of 100 pounds. And I'm like down 2 pounds, so I'm like, alright, cool. And I have my body oil that I made with ginger, lime, and lemongrass to help improve my skin elasticity. So after I went to the potluck, they had soup there. They had chili and like potato soup, and I just opted for a bowl of potato soup. That's it. One of the young children there brought me like a little piece of cake, and I had a piece and I tasted it, and it was enough, and I just threw the rest of the cake in the fire because I was like, I'm as a baker, like I put love in the things that I prepare, and I didn't taste any love in that, although I received it in gratitude from the young lady that brought it to me. Like, yeah. So, continuing to eat my food. I'm gonna get better like at storytelling. I tend to kind of jump around and all over the place. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'm still understanding the value of telling my story and sharing my experiences with other people. I've had circumstances in which I've shared my experiences with people, and they've used that information to judge me as less than. As it stands right now, I got to the point where I will do that first. I'll give you a reason to judge me, and then wait and see what your heart leads you to do. And I'm here counting yesterday as a win, because although I acknowledge that giving the gift, or judging that the gift was cursed, or suspect any whatever of that could be deemed as offensive, like I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, I was slightly offended, but I was able to forgive the offense. And I was like, how did I feel about that? I felt offended. But the thing that I think that interests me the most is the fact that I gave a seashell to a man named Dennis. And I did not know the man's name before I gave him the gift. I did my meditations. He came to mind, and I was like, okay, what should I give him? I was thinking a rock, but then a shell. So I gave him one of the shells, and when he told me his name, I was like, oh wow. So the the kind of guidance or whatever was to give him the shell, and they would know what it meant. And then I was like, okay. So when I asked like, what does it mean? They were like, ask him or what have you like that. All right, fine. Shells mean different things to different people, different types of shells or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And he said that meant good luck to him. The interesting thing about this is that he said all third hand. So this is the days of our lives version of point of life experience. But the pastor's wife mentioned the person's name, Dennis, and the shell to me. And I was like, like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm following the guidance of my inner child, my inner being, my inner spirit, or what have you. And because he came across my awareness, and I was like, yeah. My ego was kind of like, ooh, who's that? And then the spirit was like, hold off. I'm like, okay, fine. So, at any rate, I sat out there talking, and as people are dispersing, there were probably about 50 or 60 people there. It was a really nice sized group. And, not a single person. That's not true. Other people were throwing their stuff in the fire. No one spoke to me, but they're doing their little thing with their focus. So I was just like, go there and shout my gratitudes. Check my attitude. And after everything was said and done, I wanted to help put things up a little bit because I got there early enough thinking that I was going to be able to help set up, and I didn't need any help, or I didn't know who to ask. So I just kind of sat and enjoyed. But the pastor brought some balls outside for the kids to play in, and he was going to leave and just leave them outside. So I was like, where do you want these to go? And so he was like, just put them up here because they were covered in grass when the kids kicked them around that evening. It started like 7, so it was like 2 hours, a good amount of time. So yeah. So good. So after that was over, I went to my car. I sat down. And I went home to have a sandwich. So the potato soup was pretty tasty. Tasted kind of like runny mashed potatoes. So good. forgot how spicy my potatoes are. I was working on those Brussels sprouts, so good. I have a little bit of this melon left, man. Let me tell you something. This melon is like so sweet and juicy. Maybe I have some of this to offset some of the heat in my mouth. I really like the soft texture of this melon. It's really ripe. Ooh. Save some of that for the last bite. I mean, if you've ever felt rejected at church, I understand. If you've ever felt rejected outside of church, I understand. If you've ever rejected someone else because of a vibe that they gave you, I understand that too. And whereas you never get a second chance to make a first impression, like holding on to that first impression can be rather unforgiving because you don't know what a person is dealing with, what they're going through when they offend you, and whether or not they even understand what they're doing is offensive. And I was trying to think of like, okay, how can we be more forgiving? Like, oh man, they should have known better, da 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 da. Yeah, you know what? Wisdom comes from life experiences. And if a person is in a negative vibrational state, lower vibrational energies like fear, envy, shame, or regret, the decisions that they make might not make sense to someone else. And yeah, do what you do out of a loving place. But you have to love yourself first, so that means you have to go inside yourself. Looking outside of yourself for validation, for anything related to how you feel about yourself, is going to lead to dissatisfaction. So be encouraged that being dissatisfied with what's outside is meant to help you look inside yourself. Look within so that you can begin and end each day in gratitude. Check your attitude, y'all, and pitch. Make the call to be grateful for all, even the bullshit. It's just fertilizer to make you wiser. Once you know, you know. And once you know better, you do better. But guess what? Once you're doing better, you have to show other people how to do better too. People aren't watching what you say. I'm sorry, they're not listening to what you say. They're watching what you do. So, be loving, be great, and yeah, don't forget to meditate. The link in the description is available to you for ways to connect with me via telephone, video, or a down payment on a healing session. There's also a link to my Cuddle Companions profile, so if you'd like to book a cuddle session with me, you have to go through that site. There's some rules and regulations to understand, and I appreciate that. I do want to take a moment to say thank you so much for everyone that has reached out, sent messages, commented on my videos, sent me messages through TikTok, Instagram, and sent me Cash Apps and PayPals, Zelles, Venmos. Thank you so much for your support and encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing. You're helping me be the hand or voice of God in someone else's life. We may not necessarily agree on our ideologies, but we can agree that love will make the world a better place. And loving those that have less than or those that are in need is a way to plant a seed of hope. You may lose hope, you may lose faith, but don't ever lose love because that's who you are. I love you so much. It's gonna be great. You're beautiful, sexy, and amazing. And of course, your butt looks nice. My name is Nicole. Be blessed. I love you.